Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm DJ Sixsmith. Welcome to Sit Down. Amber Stevens West here with us, Run the World, a brand new show. What's going on? How are you?
Oh, I'm well. I'm very excited. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Listen, you have a brand new show and people love it so far. And you've done a bunch of different things in your career, but what has this one meant to you and what was it like to put it together?
Well, what was exciting about getting this project, it was like new kind of content for me because all the stuff that I've been doing has been really like lighthearted comedy, very network TV kind of stuff, which has been really fun. But when I was approached to do something with Stars, I was like, okay, this is going to be like adult content. Let me see. Am I growing up yet? Yes, it's time. So I was excited about that. And then I realized through the process, I didn't even realize right away, but like how validating this experience was me for on a personal level because we were doing a comedy but starring four black women
Mhm.
in Harlem living successfully. And I guess I never really saw myself in that role, and it made me anxious to try to get jobs like that for some reason because I was like, oh, I don't think I'm black enough to be like the character that lives in Harlem. But they approached me and they were like, we think that you would, be a great Whitney on this show. And it kind of just made me realize that like my black experience is still a black experience, no matter if it looks like the characters that I've seen on TV in the past. So I just hope that it also makes other people feel that way too. So it's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that you felt that way sort of speaks to the country that we're in, speaks to the industry, right? Every experience should be shown on television, and you're a great actor, and you have the opportunity to really have the runway here with Whitney. So, what was most fascinating once you did have this serious matter that you could really jump into here?
What was most what? Sorry.
What was most fascinating in terms of playing this part and just getting to be in serious content?
Oh, it just again was like a really validating experience. I just got to see more of myself and people like me, and um, I also learned a lot about Harlem and what it's like up there. I grew up in Los Angeles and had its own unique experience of being a woman who lives in this city, and to go up there and see how people are thriving and getting to highlight that experience on TV was exciting. I think Harlem hasn't had its time in the sun for a while, so it's nice to see how wonderful it is up there still, and how people are just living successfully up in this part of New York that we don't get to see very often. So there was a lot of things that were really exciting.
Harlem's got a great vibe, and I'm glad we get to see it with this show.
It's
So,
so
what
fun.
did you like about it? What did you like the most about the city?
It's got its own like uniqueness. The people all are, it's like they all know each other, but they don't. You walk around and people greet you in a different way. It's very like homey neighborhood feel. Like people just hang out in the streets and they're hanging out in the park and they are inviting you out to things, and it's very inclusive. There's a lot of like African culture there. So you'll hear like fun drum circles going on. um like obviously the food is outstanding. There's just something to get into everywhere, and it's very alive at all times of day.
Hmm.
So I look forward to getting to go and spend more time there because there's just so many little pockets and corners that you want to hang out on and get to know people, and everyone's seemed really happy to have us there too.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff going on, that's for sure. And definitely a lot of great stuff from Lee Davenport that she's made. And you got to work with her and collaborate with her. And you mentioned Black women thriving, four women being friends on TV. That's major stuff. So, what was the best part about working with her?
Well, she created this show, and this is completely inspired by her true life experience. She was living in Harlem, had a really great job, and all of her friends were, really going after their dreams, and they were in like successful, happy relationships with men, and everything was really exciting. And she realized she wasn't seeing any of that on television. And she was like, well, this is a real experience that I'm having. How come I'm not seeing this anywhere? So she just wrote it herself. So we are truly inspired by her real girlfriends who we've actually had some time to hang out with and get to know, which is exciting. Um, And I think that speaks to the authenticity of the show and why it works so well, because it's just coming from a real place.
I think those are the best types of shows, no question about it. You've been doing this thing for a minute now, all different parts of movies and TV shows. What have been some of the keys to your success when you think about your career?
That's a hard question. I think what's most important to me in my life is to enjoy myself. I only like to work on things that are going to be fun. I get one life to live, and I'm not interested in spending it struggling. So anything that I like to work on, if I'm lucky enough to have the opportunity to like make these choices, is it needs to be a good time, and that usually means that the content ends up being really good. So I've been lucky enough to work on like lots of really great shows. But when people are happy working together, you get good products. So I think that's kind of the key to my success, is that because it brings me so much joy, I'm only working on things that I truly am inspired by and happy to be there. And it's a grueling business, and
Mhm.
you work really really long hours sometimes on things, and you're away from your family, and you make a lot of sacrifices. You move to different cities. There's like lots of different things that can complicate it and make it hard. So you got to make sure that you're enjoying it along the way too. And I
I would
just think
imagine you had a pretty good time. Yeah, I mean, listen, that's really important. I would imagine you had a pretty good time on Greek, and it's
oh
crazy
yeah.
that it's been over 10 years. So, what do you remember about when that show first got going?
I was so young and naive about what being on a TV show was. I grew up in Los Angeles, and my dad was on television and worked on sitcoms and stuff when I was a kid. So I marginally knew what it was like, but this working on Greek, it was like I got the job, and it was like it was a pilot, but I didn't really know what that meant. So I was like, I guess I'm just gonna act in this thing, and then maybe it'll be a show. Like everything was like an incremental steps for me. Um, but that I think is what made it so special and exciting, is that I didn't have these like lofty like uh expectations of what the show would be. I was just like very present in it. And I remember getting the pilot for Greek, and my best friend came over. I was living at my parents' house still, and she came over and sat on my bed with me. And her name's Ashley, actually, like my character on the show. And we sat on the bed and we read through the whole script together. And we're like, this show's good. This is fun. And there wasn't anything else out there at the time that was like that, highlighting the college experience through the Greek system. And we had so many friends that were doing that at the time, so it was exciting that I was going to be able to like live my college years but through this show. And then that's exactly what it was. Like we were all very young doing this show together. For most of us, it was our first TV show. So we got really close with each other. It was as if we really were in college. We spent all day at work together, and then every weekend together for all those years. And we still all keep in touch. And it was a really special, exciting experience. And
How crazy is it to you that the show still has legs all these years later
it
and we're still
blows
talking
my mind. The amount of people
about it?
who watched it in quarantine who reach out to me.
Yeah, it's a whole new audience, right?
Yes, it's got new audience and people who went back and visited it again, who are now, in their mid 30s, who loved it when it was on back in the day. I mean, it's really, but that speaks to, again, like what I was saying. It was a group of happy people making something fresh and exciting. And that's why it works still. It's You have good writing and good characters, it'll stand the test of time.
Another good one for you was 22 Jump Street. It's you, it's Ice Cube, it's Jonah Hill. I mean, that was quite a cast. What do you remember from that experience?
That was a wild job to get. I, I auditioned for that a few times, and then so I got a phone call. I was walking into a yoga class, and I just so happened to check my phone right before I went into the class, and it was my agent, and he was like, "Hey, the producers want you to come back for 22 Jump Street in 45 minutes." Um, or it was like in like 2 hours or something, but it was like a 40-minute drive for me to get there. And there's new sides. So you got to print it all out and get across town. And I was like, okay. So I didn't go to my class. I ran home. I printed out, I think it was like 18 pages of sides
Wow.
that I had not read before. So I'm on the freeway driving there, like trying to learn it. Um, But what was so exciting is that I got there and Jonah was in the room. And I still hadn't even read all of the sides yet. But because Jonah was there, it was a very like improv heavy like audition. It was like, we don't care that you don't know the lines, whatever, say whatever, just go along with it. And I was like, okay. So it was exciting because the pressure was off. And then when I got the job, that's exactly how it was on set. It was very like, here's the script, but like, you guys say it your way, and have fun with each other. And so it was a very collaborative experience. And, Jonah's so funny and Channing is so funny. And, a lot of that stuff is in the script, but like the two of them bring like something special to it. And I think that's why that movie stands out. And we were filming in New Orleans and in Puerto Rico. I mean, I have no complaints, obviously. That was a really special, fun movie to me.
That's awesome to hear. Another special thing will be one day when your daughter can watch all this stuff, right? And then I know you have another kid on the way. So have you thought about that, showing them what mom has done so far?
I have, I think for the most part, my kids could watch everything and nothing's like embarrassing or bad or too adult. I mean, I guess Run the World is something they probably can't watch until
Yeah, we'll probably wait on that one a little while.
it's a little like grown up. But yeah, I think I'm certainly more aware of like the kind of characters and projects that I want to be a part of now that I've got to think about like my kids seeing it one day and making them proud. But yeah, that'll be weird.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that one. We got a kid on the way too in October, so those are some thoughts that's starting to happen.
Congratulations!
Thank
Your
you.
first kid?
Yeah, first one. Yeah, we're having a boy, so.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you.
It's just
Appreciate
the best.
it.
It's just the best. I know everyone tells you that, but you'll see.
We're excited. Amber, really nice to meet you. Thanks so much for the time, and we'll be watching Around the World, right?
Thank you.